Street Fighter 6. It's one of the most popular fighting video games out there, and it's also one of the most new player-friendly fighting games to get into. So, here's a simple explanation for getting started with Street Fighter 6. Starting with the controls, you have two options to play. Classic mode, for people who have played fighting games before or want to play with the original controls, or Modern, which is easier to play for people first getting introduced to the game, but each has its own pros and cons. Starting with Modern, it's easier to pick up, has fewer button inputs, and has an auto combo button, but there are some missing attacks and you do 20% less damage. On the other hand, Classic mode has more attacks and no damage debuff, but has a higher learning curve. So let's go over the controls. There are multiple controllers you can use. The keyboard, an Xbox controller, a PlayStation controller, a fight stick, or a Switch controller. But for simplicity, this video will stick with the Xbox and PlayStation controllers. Starting with modern controls, you can move the character with the D-pad or left joystick. Square or X is your light attack, cross or A is your medium attack, circle or B is your heavy attack, triangle or Y is your special move, right bumper is the drive parry, left bumper is the drive impact, right trigger is for combo assist, and left trigger is the grab. On the other side, classic controls have some similarities. The D-pad and joystick move the character, left bumper does the drive impact, and that's where it ends. Left trigger is the drive parry, square or X is the light punch, cross or A is light kick, circle or B is medium kick, triangle or Y is medium punch, right bumper is heavy punch, and right trigger is heavy kick. Now, let's talk characters. With 26 options, there's a variety of characters to choose from. You got close range characters like Cammy,
Locked on.
mid-range characters like Luke,
Too slow. Wrong guy to mess with.
or long-range characters like JP.
Care to hear how this ends? In ruin.
Each character has a variation of light, medium, and heavy kicks and punches, special moves, unique attacks, and super arts. Light attacks are fast attacks with low damage and fast recovery. Medium attacks are the in-between with speed and damage. Heavy attacks are the slowest in speed, do the most damage, but have the longest recovery after using them. Special moves are, well, special. These moves require multiple button inputs, which differ depending on whether you are playing on modern or classic controls. But what do these buttons mean? On classic, the fist is for punch, the foot is for kick, the light blue versions are the light variants, yellow is medium, and red is heavy. On modern, the light blue circle is light attack, yellow is medium attack, red is heavy attack, and SP is a special button. On both classic and modern, some attacks have these arrows. This is the direction in which you have to move the joystick or press on the D-pad before the next input. A yellow arrow is a charge attack. This means that you have to hold it for 45 frames before you can do the next input. This symbol means that you have to do a full circle of the joystick or D-pad. This button means hold. You hold the button. And an N is neutral, which means you don't have to press a direction. Let's use Juri as an example. On classic controls, her Fuhajin requires a down input, down left, and left input, then a light, medium, or heavy kick. On modern, it's left and the special button. Depending on which way the character is facing, the direction you have to press the buttons change. If the command looks like this, and you're on the left side of the screen, you follow the inputs. But if your character's on the right side, mirror the input. So, Juri's Fuhajin turns into down, down right, and right. If the move you are doing has a gray foot or fist, that means you can do a light, medium, or heavy input, and it will do a different variant of the move. Unique attacks are simple little attacks that are usually 2 buttons or more that can be mixed into your attacks. Super arts are the ultimate moves of all characters. On modern controls, most super arts require pressing the special button and the heavy button, plus a direction, with some characters having a charge input in the mix. On classic, it's the directional inputs with either a punch or kick, with some super arts having a charge input. All characters can block by either walking backwards or holding down left. This matters as a standing block cannot block low attacks and a low block cannot block high attacks. All characters can also grab by either using the left trigger on modern controls or pressing light punch and kick at the same time on classic. This can also be used to get your opponent out of a block or do some damage. What you see on the screen has to be explained. This is the health bar. Bring the opponents to 0 to win. Have yours brought to 0 and that's the end for you. In the middle is the timer. Have this hit 0 and the one with the most health wins the round. Speaking of rounds, this is how many rounds someone has won. Win enough and either you or the opponent wins the match. Down here is the super arts meter. This bar charges up from 0 to 3 from either beating up the opponent or getting beaten up. Depending on what number is there, is the super arts you can use. Lastly, this green bar is the drive meter. This has a couple of uses. Pressing the right bumper does a drive impact. If this hits the opponent, it stuns the opponent for a moment. Hit your opponent 3 times in quick succession when they're doing a drive impact, and it will stop it and stun them. For a defensive counter, there's drive reversal. Block the opponent's attack, and then press the forward button and the drive impact button. Holding the right button on modern controls or left trigger on classic does a drive parry. This is pretty much an all-around block. Holding this button down drains the drive meter, but getting hit in this state restores a little of the drive meter. Press it at the right moment and you can parry your opponent's attack. And just like normal blocking, you can get grabbed out of this state. Holding down the drive parry, then pressing the forward direction input twice does a drive rush. This move helps close the distance between you and the opponent. By trading in 2 bars of the drive bar and pressing 2 punches or kicks in the special moves input on classic or holding the assist button while doing the special move on modern, this turns the character yellow. This is an overdrive move, which are faster, sometimes do more damage, and especially helps in doing combos. The drive bar regenerates over time, but if this bar runs out, you won't have the ability to do any of these moves. Get knocked into one of the visible walls when this bar hits 0 by the opponent, and you'll get stunned, becoming the opponent's punching bag. So, this is where your new best friend comes in. The important section to focus on is the screen display settings. This has a couple of options you can turn on. Attack data is this box up here. That shows the damage the attack does, the damage a combo does, and the type of attack. Input history shows the inputs you did. Useful for practice of the moves with directional inputs and charge moves. Frame meter, which shows frame data, which is important in understanding the time between moves. There's an inbuilt chart in simple training settings called the frame meter in U that will give you a full breakdown of what each color means. Command completion display shows a banner on the completion of a special move or unique attack. Action timing display shows when the next input can be done. Cancel timing display shows when a move can be canceled, very important in combos. Virtual controller shows what buttons you are pressing on the screen in a controller display. And that is a simple explanation for getting started with Street Fighter 6. Now go out there and beat people on the street. Wait, no!